Live from Arkansas's breaking news leader, Fox 16 News at 9 starts now.
Breaking news just into the Fox 16 studio. Little Rock police say they are responding to a shooting in the downtown area. It happened within the hour in the 1800 block of West 15th Street. The victim, we're told, is in serious condition. No suspect information, though, at the time, but we will keep you updated as information becomes available to us within this hour.
It was hard to believe a 2-year-old shooting himself with a handgun.
In less than a week, 3 shootings, 3 victims.
Just saw the baby was full of blood. His clothes and stuff was full of blood.
All young children, all dead, all of them preventable. Tonight and only on Fox 16 News, a closer look at innocent lives lost.
No parent or relative or anyone wants to experience something like this.
What can be done to save lives and to protect those we love?
And tonight we're dedicating much of this hour to what appears to be a devastating pattern in central Arkansas. Children dying way too soon, caught in the line of accidental gunfire. Good evening, everyone. I'm Donna Terrell.
And I'm Kevin Kelly, coming to you live from the Little Rock Police Station, where investigators both here and in Benton are searching for answers after 2 accidental shootings resulted in 2 young individuals being shot and killed. I'll bring you up to speed on the latest shooting involving a 6-year-old boy, Donna, that happened just last night.
All right, Kevin, and we do have team coverage for you tonight. In addition to Kevin being live at the Little Rock Police Department, Jesse Tenur is in Benton trying to get information on that deadly shooting of a 2-year-old. And Marcy Manley is here in the studio with us, live on Periscope, Facebook, and Twitter, answering your questions. Just be sure you use the hashtag accidental shootings. But first, we begin with my co-anchor, Kevin Kelly. He's live at police headquarters with the latest on last night's shooting involving that 6-year-old boy. And today, Kevin, we're told the little boy's aunt was in court. She's been charged with manslaughter.
Yeah, Kenya Brevard, however, Donna, is out of jail this evening. She posted bond after pleading not guilty to that manslaughter charge you mentioned about, as well as to being a felon in possession of a firearm. Now, tonight, police are calling it an accidental shooting, but the investigation is far from over. Needless to say, 24 hours later, there's still a lot of questions that need answers. And as Fox 16's Hillary Hunt reports, both the aunt, family, and friends are in a state of shock and mourning about a death that could have easily been prevented.
You, the adult, could be held responsible if somebody gets that weapon. And
Somber faces could be seen walking out of the Pulaski County Detention Center as the family of this 6-year-old boy posted bond for Kenya Brevard.
you still can catch a criminal charge. And this isn't done out of punishment or retribution. It's done just because we want to make sure that we do the right thing as police officers. And
The 38-year-old pled not guilty to manslaughter charges Thursday morning. Brevard spent less than 24 hours in a cell following what Little Rock police say was an accidental shooting death of her nephew Wednesday.
a 6-year-old child, it doesn't take a lot of strength to pull the trigger on a weapon.
This was the scene around 4:30 after the young boy accidentally shot himself, later dying from his injuries at Arkansas Children's Hospital. Little Rock police say this is a tragic reminder to always make sure your guns are locked up or in a safe place.
One time is too many. No parent or relative or anyone wants to experience something like this. So.
As you just heard, I mean, and it's worth reiterating, Donna, one life is too many, especially when we're talking about kids and guns. As for Brevard, she is expected to be back in court January and could face between 3 to 10 years if she's found guilty on these charges.
New details since we first told you about a Benton 2-year-old shot and killed this week. According to a police report, the little boy's life put on the line only 3 weeks earlier when he was found wandering a busy street in only a diaper and a jacket. Fox 16's Jesse Tenur has tracked this story from the very beginning. She joins us live now from where the driver actually found the 2-year-old 3 weeks ago. Jesse?
Donna, the 2-year-old boy was able to walk from his home here on Nelson Circle all the way down to Edison Avenue, which is a pretty busy road in Benton. His total trip, only about 530 feet. Thankfully, a driver spotted him and pulled him to safety. Police responded to the scene here and cited his mother. Drivers frequent Edison Avenue throughout the day in Benton. Right up the street lived a very curious 2-year-old.
He'd pity-pat down here, Grandma, Grandma, and he'd go that way.
But great-grandma was always there to stop him.
When he acted like he was going to follow too far, Grandma, here I'd come.
Except for one day, October 26th.
For 2 years old, that little fella was smart.
When the little boy opened his front door by himself and made it from Nelson Circle to busy Edison Avenue in just a diaper and jacket. A driver spotted him, picked him up, and called police.
Mother never went and got him. I went and got him clear over to that railroad track down there. She would be knocked out like this on the bed. That's what made me think she was sick.
3 weeks later, police back in the area because family says the same little boy accidentally shot and killed himself with a .45 pistol.
That's what makes me feel like she must have been sick because it happened in the trailer.
Linda Ashley and Benton police are trying to figure out how the 2-year-old could have gotten his hands on such a lethal weapon. Ashley hopes the parents knew better.
I want to whop them both across the bottom. If there was a gun anywhere that should have been put up and empty.
She can't let herself think of that too much.
I'm going to miss him terribly.
Instead, she tries to remember the good.
When I had flowers blooming, he'd come over and pick one, bring to me. And he was the sweetest little fella.
And look forward to seeing her little fella, her good little boy, again someday.
It's just one of the things we got to face. I keep telling them how good heaven's got to be.
And in regards to the little boy walking right here on Edison Avenue, the police report states his mother told officers she and her son laid down for a nap, and she didn't realize he left the house, Donna.
My goodness, Jesse, I mean, who knew all of this was in the background? I'm wondering, though, about this most recent case, the shooting. Any new developments in that investigation?
Donna, I've been in contact with police all day trying to see if there was anything new to add to tonight's report. So far, no arrests, no new developments yet, Donna.
Okay, and of course, this is a case we'll keep following. Jesse, thanks a lot for that. Now, according to the Arkansas chapter of Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense, the last 7 days are tied to one of the worst unintentional shootings weeks we've had. Nationally, there have been 10 unintentional child shootings this week. Of those, 6 resulted in deaths, and 3 of those were right here in Arkansas. That's this week alone. So coming up, Marcy Manley and Lieutenant Steve McClanahan with the Little Rock Police Department will be in our newscast. They're on Facebook and Twitter. And so listen up. We do want to hear from you. We want to hear what you think needs to be done to keep you and your family safe. And we also want to hear your questions. On social media, just use the hashtag accidental shootings. And we want this conversation to be about solutions and how we can save lives. A Fox 16 crime alert tonight. 1 man is dead and another in intensive care tonight after deputies say they were attacked by a man with a baseball bat. This was in Faulkner County. Richard Williford is being held in jail pending charges. They say he attacked the 2 men at a property off Mount Gale Road. He then ran to a nearby neighborhood where a homeowner says Williford was trying to break into his truck. Louise Witcher lives right next door.
We have been in a neighborhood where we felt safe not to lock our cars and even our doors. But now I'm more cautious.
Faulkner County Sheriff's deputies have identified the victim as 52-year-old Bradley Stinton, and they're also looking for these 2 women right here, Laura Henson and Amanda Turney, who deputies are saying they are persons of interest in this case tonight. Deputies are searching for a woman who didn't show up to a jury trial. She's accused of smoking meth with her 13-year-old daughter. Laura Fawcett is charged in Drew County with introducing a controlled substance into another person's body. She was arrested back in January. Police say she had pleaded not guilty and was scheduled for trial this morning, but she did not show up. The Arkansas Supreme Court has taken away the docket of a cross-county judge accused of trading sexual favors to reduce defendants' sentences. Judge Joe Bachman was absent during court today, with J. Harmon Smith presiding in his place. The Supreme Court will appoint a special judge to handle Bachman's caseload indefinitely. He denies the allegations, but a number of people were relieved he wasn't in court today.
Here you got people trying to get things straightened out, and he's offering them, you know, you do this and I'll waive this, you won't have to pay that. You know, it's just kind of disgusting.
Well, Bachman wouldn't comment on the allegations when we approached him back in August. His attorney told us that he would fight the allegations at the commission. From what we understand, a criminal investigation is ongoing, but law enforcement will not comment on that because of a gag order. Coming up, a Central Arkansas student finally makes it back home after being in France during those attacks. How students remember the lives lost almost a week ago.
Weather to plan your day with Fox 16 Chief Meteorologist Jeff Baskin.
Take a look outside. Yeah, it looks dark, but it feels nice. Not too bad out there. I just got back from doing a report in front of the Little Rock Police headquarters there, but I tell you what, it felt pretty nice. Hopefully it'll continue.
Yeah, cool, not much wind, so it feels pretty decent out there, but by the weekend we're talking about some winter-like air coming in.
Winter-like, yeah, that'll catch your attention.
It's going to feel like winter out there as we go into the next couple of days. As a matter of fact, we're talking about the first freeze of the year coming up as we go into the weekend. Tomorrow morning's low right around 40, which is cool, but that's pretty close to average. Average low this time of year down into the low 40s. 43 on Saturday, but keep in mind Saturday temperatures won't warm up all that much. The strong cold front moves on through, and northerly winds will keep it feeling very chilly. And by Sunday morning, the bottom really falls out down to 30 for the low temperature. The first widespread freeze of the year, and again down near freezing Monday morning. Satellite and radar showing clear skies all across the state. The front that brought the heavy rain earlier this week is pushing off the east coast. Now we're looking out to the west. There's a weak disturbance now pushing into the Rocky Mountain states, but what this system is going to do, even though it's not very strong, it's going to tap into this Arctic air that's been building across parts of the northwest and southern Canada. Temperatures in the teens and 20s, and some of that colder air is going to work its way south. Right now, we're still pretty mild with temperatures ranging from the upper 30s to around 50 degrees, 37 the cold spot in Clinton right now, but otherwise 40s and 50s out there, 45 around Batesville, 44 Russellville, Little Rock still holding on to 50 degrees, but Jacksonville quite a bit cooler at 42, and temperatures mid-40s to near 50 across south central Arkansas. Right now 50 degrees in Little Rock, not much wind out there, only northeast at 3 miles per hour. Taking a look at our forecast satellite and radar, high pressure over the area, so we wake up to lots of sunshine again for tomorrow morning. Staying sunny for most of the day, looks pretty good for those high school football playoff games for tomorrow, so no problems there. Now, as we go into Saturday morning, here comes that cold front. Only a few spotty showers associated with the front. Not a whole lot of rain, not much of an opportunity for that Gulf moisture to advance northward ahead of the front. So we'll squeeze out a couple of showers, not much more than that. But as that front comes on through, those winds increase out of the north. So even though we clear out by later on in the day, it's going to be windy and very chilly out there, especially if you're going to northwest Arkansas, seeing the Razorbacks game. It's playing Mississippi State. It's going to start off. Kickoff, we're talking about temperatures likely near freezing. Yes, you'll need your winter clothes if you're heading up to the hill this weekend. Otherwise, staying cold as we go into Saturday night and Sunday morning. Look at these expected low temperatures for Sunday morning. We're talking about mid-20s north, temperatures below freezing south, many areas across central Arkansas with the first freeze of the year. Temperatures for tomorrow morning starting off in the upper 30s near 40 degrees, and we warm up into the upper 50s near 60 by about lunchtime. So again, another sunny kind of mild day out there. And as we go into the evening, cool but pleasantly cool for late November with temperatures in the upper 40s. Taking a look at your Friday across the state, 62 north Little Rock, temperatures near 60 north with lots of sunshine, low to mid 60s south and east, 65 around Malvern, 67 in Arkadelphia. Here's a look at that 7-day forecast. And temperatures really cool off as we go into the weekend. 63 for Friday, but look at Saturday. After that front comes on through, temperatures go nowhere, likely staying in the 40s with a couple of showers, mainly during the early morning hours, down near 30 for Sunday morning. Again, only in the 40s for highs on Sunday, even with sunshine warming up a little bit as we get towards the Thanksgiving holiday. We'll have more coming up right after this.
These are the faces of the lives lost in accidental shootings in Arkansas. This has happened in the last 6 months. 3 of them happened since Saturday. Let me kind of run down the list for you. In May, a 2-year-old gained access to his father's gun. This happened in Redfield, and he shot and killed his 5-year-old brother. And then on Saturday, there was another shooting. A child was killed while hunting with his brother. This happened in Locksburg. And then a 2-year-old shot and killed himself with a gun. That happened in Benton on Saturday. And we've been talking about this, and just last night, a 6-year-old was found with a gun inside his aunt's car. He fatally shot himself in the face. Fox 16's investigator Marcy Manley with us now to talk more about these accidental child deaths. Marcy.
Well, Donna, while the debate about guns can get heated, the backs and forths of open carry, concealed carry, stronger gun control, non-gun control efforts across the country are going on to reduce injuries and deaths among kids. This is an issue that we first analyzed in July, but as these recent shootings show, they continue to be an issue communities across the state struggle with.
Starts now.
Every year in Arkansas,
A 14-year-old boy found shot to death.
and every day in the United States,
An accidental shooting of a 3-year-old.
children, some barely old enough to walk,
Say his sister is responsible.
are involved in deadly shootings in front of
and the shooter believed to be the boy's sibling.
and behind the barrel.
Every single one of these stories just eats me alive.
Austin Bailey is a mom who demands action.
Because they're so preventable.
It's not just the name of a group on her t-shirt.
We're here to encourage adults to make sure that any weapons in the home are stored securely.
It's a way of life she lives as the mother of 2 boys.
When my son was 3, he was going on his first play date, and I knew I wanted to ask, like, are there guns and are they stored safely?
And while talk of guns can feel taboo,
I know it's awkward to do sometimes, but ask about the presence of firearms in the home.
Moms Demand Action is encouraging parents to ask the questions and spread the message.
It's not something that people always think about, but if she's going on a play date, to ask the parents, hey, do you have weapons in the home? And if so, are they stored safely?
According to Bailey, it's simple to be smart. First, you want to make sure that any guns inside your home and vehicle are safely secured. Next, you want to make sure that you're modeling safe gun behavior by keeping guns unloaded, even if they are secure. That includes asking parents about unsecured guns that they might keep inside their homes and realizing the risks that guns can pose when it comes to teen suicide. Finally, telling others how to be smart is part of you being smart as well.
To make sure that kids don't get their hands on weapons, which seems to happen too much.
In Arkansas, between 2004 and 2013, 24 children died in accidental shootings, an average of 2 or more a year. During that same time period, State Department of Health data shows 154 children were hospitalized from accidental shootings, and ER visits for kids with unintentional gunshot wounds between 2012 and 2013, at least 57.
It's all stuff that I wish I didn't have to know. But like I said, you know, keeping up with the injuries and deaths, it just every day, and it's just tragic.
So imagine you're a 12-year-old kid. You've got this little gun here, and you're having a good time playing with it. And you walking down the street. Well, old Nosy Rosie sees, she's looking out the window. Oh my gosh, call 911.
While Bailey reaches out to parents on the taboo topic,
Kid, we got it. She doesn't know this is a playgun.
former Pulaski County Coroner Steve Navoyacek tackles reality with teens and kids.
I like to talk about the reality to young people about guns and the reality of them, because many kids don't get that.
Tired of seeing young dead people.
He's seen plenty of kids come across the coroner's slab dead from gunshot wounds and accidental shootings and unfortunate encounters with police.
But damn it, this looks like a real gun. And that's why we got to teach gun safety. That's why we should have my old ass in the school doing what I just did here.
Steve wants to reach kids sooner in the classroom, as early as second grade, to teach them that mistaking guns for a toy can trigger tragedy.
Guns here, they're going to be here forever. We just need to have kids understand and know that the reality is that that guns can be used for poor purposes and bad purposes. And that's the message that I think kids can change their parents.
Bailey and Steve take two different approaches to addressing the same problem.
New information tonight in the case
of one death that could have been prevented being one too many.
Today. Good evening, everyone.
Now, those who have dug into the CDC data, which are based on medical examiner determinations, say the number of accidental shootings recorded are likely an underestimate. While we do have some idea of how many children are killed or injured by guns on that level, no single entity in the state or nationally has tracked how many times a child is the shooter in an incident.
And I'm going to tell you that was really a good story and so informative. I have to wonder, though, when Steve was talking to those kids, because I heard them clapping several times, but how were they really responding to that? And do you think they were really getting the message?
He talks to them on a level, he gears his message toward teens, but he really thinks that you can start educating kids much sooner and that you can change the culture of them and then change the culture of their parents as far as responsibility with guns goes. But yeah, they seem to take him seriously, and he talked frankly to them, and he highlighted issues that have been in the news. So
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's great, though, to really start young with children and make them understand.
And those are things
gun
we're going
safety.
to talk about later in the show. Safety precautions that parents can take to keep their kids safe, and then also the decisions on when is it the parents' responsibility or the adults' responsibility, and when does law enforcement hold them responsible.
Okay, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And if you're just joining us, Kevin is going to chime in right now.
Yeah, we want our viewers right now to sign into the Facebook or Twitter and join the live chat with Fox 16's Marcy Manley and Lieutenant Steve McClanahan, along with Don and myself, because we want to hear how you keep your family safe. We also want to hear any questions you have. So on social media, just use hashtag accidental shootings. Now's the time to ask your questions. New at 9 this evening, dozens of students remember those who were lost in the terrorist attacks that hit Paris, France just last Friday.
Fox 16's Stephanie Sharp was there and explains who a former student or how a former student was in Paris when those attacks happened.
Yeah, that's right, guys. Now, the student who was originally from the Ukraine graduated from UCA a couple of years ago, but he was here on campus tonight at a visual. Him and many other people were here. Students from France and other countries spoke about the tragedies. The Ukrainian student says he was visiting Paris for a night before traveling to UCA for the anniversary of a Model UN conference. He spent the night sightseeing and was in the Eiffel Tower when the bombs went off a few blocks away. He didn't initially see anything, but quickly knew something wasn't right when he got back down to the ground.
And the streets were just completely empty, and that was also very strange for me because it was a Friday night.
Now, it was quite an event for him to be at, and the students talked about that tonight. And at the end of the vigil tonight, they talked about peace, and they spoke the word peace in many different languages. It was a very powerful vigil here tonight. And I also spoke with a Ukrainian student who says that he's not afraid to travel back to Paris, and he hopes to travel back again soon. Back to you.
I'm surprised he is eager to get back there under the circumstances, but did he have a message for some of the other students there as well?
You know, he said he wanted to pray for the families that were directly involved with the tragedy and families that lost loved ones in that tragedy. He said, you know, just being there on the night that it happened was powerful enough for him, and he just urged everyone to keep those families in your prayers. That's one of the big things he was telling students tonight.
Yeah, the power of prayer. All right, thank you very much, Stephanie. Appreciate it.
In less than a week, 3 children have died from accidental shootings. Tonight, we are devoting most of our news hour, as you can tell, to how we can help prevent these tragedies from happening. So right now, Marcy Manley and Lieutenant Steve McClanahan are here to talk about how quickly the aunt, Kenya Brevard, was charged with manslaughter in last night's shooting. But the case in Benton that happened just a couple of days ago, where a child was also killed by a gun, nothing has happened with that. And a lot of people, especially on social media, they were wondering, why is it Brevard was charged so quickly with manslaughter? I'm wondering if Lieutenant McClanahan, you can answer that.
I can comment on that. What we see in this particular case is it's like working a puzzle. And in this particular instance, we had evidence and we had statements that led to that decision being made. That's carefully vetted from both detectives and supervisors, so we never charge unless we're certain that that's the right thing to do. And in this case, again, with the forensic evidence and her statement, we determined that that was the proper thing to do.
Okay.
Now, I've spoken with former prosecutors just to get a sense of how they approach their decision making too, because you guys arrest, they charge, and they mentioned they kind of look at it, or at least this one in particular did, duty and breach of that duty. Were they responsible for that child? Were they responsible for the weapon from the adult's perspective? And then breach of that duty. Did they make multiple bad decisions that ultimately led to that outcome? Would you say that that's a similar process that you guys go through as police?
I would say that's a very similar process that we go through. Again, and in this case, or I don't know what exactly happened in Benton, but we had several witnesses. And remember, that also factors into our decision.
So that helps y'all sort of
that
build
helps
that
us
puzzle.
put that puzzle together and to determine what's the right and proper thing to do. Again, we don't always charge right away in cases. It depends, again, on what's happening, but we're not going to sit on that information if we know that that's the right thing to do up front.
Yeah, and you know, and I think it's hard for some people to decipher or discern, you know the intimate details in regards to a case, and most people do not. So we can understand that. But, you know, a lot of states have laws on the books that automatically hold an adult responsible when a situation like this arises. Arkansas does not. Do you think it's necessary?
Well, it's something that we can look at, most definitely. Again, but we do have a charge on our book that we have used in the past. It's endangering the welfare of a minor in the first degree, which is a felony. And the example that I gave Marcy earlier, if you leave a child in a car unattended and you as a parent go into Kroger's or another shopping center, we can charge the guardian or the parents with that crime. And it is a felony. However, it's not just specific to a gun crime, but that crime is on our books here in the state of Arkansas.
So we don't necessarily need that law in order to move
it's something that
with this.
if it would help, but I think from a prosecution standpoint, we are charging with that other crime that I mentioned, and it is a felony. So we are taking that very serious.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. I know you're going to have some more information for us coming up shortly. Thanks a lot.
Okay, you're welcome.
Yeah, in fact, we're not done with Lieutenant Steve McClanahan. Kind enough to take some time off to talk about this very important issue. Coming up next in studio, he's going to show us how easy it is to lock up your gun, and also how you can get a free gun lock, especially if you don't have one. 2/3 of accidental shootings could be avoided if gun owners stored their guns responsibly and prevented children from accessing them. 2/3. Lieutenant Steve McClanahan with the Little Rock Police Department joining us, along with Marcy Manley, to talk about more how we should all be properly storing our guns safely if we're a gun owner. And when you look at some of these unintentional child shootings and who owned the firearm, the statistics are kind of alarming. 76% of them were owned by either the parent or another family member. When I hear that kind of number, it makes me wonder, what are we doing wrong and what should we be doing to keep our family safe?
Well, as a parent myself of 2 young boys, I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, it's just something that we want no parent to experience.
Yeah.
And again, I think the key is that you have to be aware of making sure those guns are locked up. And in our house, we have a gun safe. So that's an option. Whenever I get home from work, I always make sure that I take my gun off and put it inside the gun safe.
It should be a routine every single day.
It should be a routine, because if it's a routine, you're going to stick with that. It's when you get out of the norm that you're going to do something and forget about it. And that's easy to do as parents and when you're busy from work. So just make sure that the first thing that you do when you come inside is that you stick with your routine and that you lock that weapon up.
You mentioned you have a gun safe. I know, Marcy, you're a gun owner.
Yes,
you have a gun safe
I do.
as well. There are various types of gun safes. One is clearly demonstrated right here, and they're child protective. I mean, it requires a serious code in order to get into them.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it does. And with our gun safe, you know, it's a big gun safe because you can also put other valuables in there. However, there are smaller versions too, like this one. And some of them are inexpensive, $30, $40 at Academy Sports and other places. Again, we just don't want things to happen to children. So let's just make sure that we get something that we can keep the gun secure.
And what about loaded versus unloaded? Recommendation? Advice?
Yes, unloaded, because let's say for somehow that child or someone gets in that gun safe or gets in something else, it doesn't take much to pull this trigger on a weapon. And that's just something that as parents, again, we don't want to live with. So it's always best to keep it unloaded.
And what about the bullets themselves? I know some people keep the bullets close to the guns. I know other people put them in a completely different location.
Yes, you can store the bullets separate. I think if you have a gun safe and that combination is complex, you'd probably be okay if you keep that loaded weapon in there. Again, that's going to be a decision that needs to be made by the parents, but these precautions are all going to be worthwhile.
Yeah, bottom line, common sense, be responsible, right?
Absolutely, and these locks here, I mean, we talked about the boxes, but the locks, you can buy one of those. These are for free from the Pulaski County Sheriff's Department, but $5, and that could really make it a little more difficult for your child to gain access to a gun, right?
Absolutely, and we as police, we don't like going on calls like this. It's really heartbreaking for us, again, so we would rather just have a routine day where nothing happens. So again, help us out, parents, lock the guns up.
And to be honest, we don't like reporting those stories either. Marcy talked about it. Pulaski County Sheriff's Department kindly donated 50 gun locks. We have them here at our studio. We want you to pick one up tomorrow between 8 and 4 o'clock right here at the Fox 16 station. We're located in the Victory Building at 1401 West Capitol Avenue. Again, they're free. And if you need more information, just go to our website, fox16.com.
Now, Fox 16 Sports with Wes Moore, powered by North Point Cars.
Mississippi State is making its first trip to Fayetteville since 2003. The Bulldogs and Razorbacks traditionally played in Little Rock. Arkansas is red hot, winning 4 straight. The defense got into the act last week against LSU. Previously, the offense had been carrying the load. Arkansas used the big play to jump ahead of LSU and then relied on the running game to close things out.
I think the one thing now you've seen is a little bit more explosiveness out of the offense and putting points up on the board. And, you know, one of the things when you're facing that type of team, all of a sudden they're explosive, they get some points, they get a lead. It's tough to come, it's tough to come back, because they control the clock, they control the tempo of the game.
Round 2 of the playoffs kicks off tomorrow night, and for the big schools, that means quarterfinal time. Saline County will play host to 2 Elite 8 showdowns. Fox 16's Chase Shannon has the story.
Bryant's Hornet Stadium and Benton's Athletic Complex completely empty these last 2 weeks. That'll all change tomorrow night.
We hadn't just gone crazy as far as the hitting and that type of stuff, just been tightening some things up and just making sure we're healing up. That's the main thing.
It would be a bye week for both the Saline County powerhouses. Now each have quarterfinal games.
I know the fans in Saline County are really behind us, so I feel like if we win it for them, they'll be behind us even more going on.
Benton will take on El Dorado, a conference rival and a team come this time tomorrow night. They'll have played 4 times in the last 13 months. The Panthers' goal, beating the Wildcats and then winning 2 more games to avenge losing last year in the 6A championship.
We left a bad taste in our mouth, and we're ready to rock and roll. I think everybody's focused. That's our main goal, is just get the state championship game and then focus from there and win it.
Bryant, meanwhile, has Fayetteville coming to town. This year's Hornets hoping to make history by beating the Northwest Arkansas Power and advancing to the semifinals for the first time.
To get past that second round of the playoffs and get into the semifinals before we're really considered a football school or a football town. And that's what we want to do.
In September, the Hornets and Panthers don't really like each other that much as they clash in the Salt Bowl. When the lights fire up in November, It's all about county pride.
The people around here, they love football, so that's why I think I enjoy high school football so much, is because not only I get to be with my team and just play, but just all the people that come and support us and just come and watch, and it's just awesome.
This time of year, I always like to see them do well in the playoffs. I want to see them get a big win, get a big victory, and want to see us do the same thing.
Kickoff for both games slated for 7. Reporting in Saline County, I'm Chase Shannon, Fox 16 Sports.
Those are just 2 of the 23 games on our schedule. Join us tomorrow night at 9:30 and 10:30 for Fearless Friday.
Now, your Silver Star Nation report, brought to you by Steve Landers Toyota.
The Dallas Cowboys get their quarterback back this week. What does that mean for the boys? We turn to our quarterback with the Silver Star Nation report.
Hello, everyone. I'm Babe Laufenberg with this week's Inside Slant. Jonas Salk, well, he cured polio. Louis Pasteur invented pasteurization. But Tony Romo has a far more difficult challenge in front of him. He needs to put an end to the Cowboys' 7-game losing streak. Romo, of course, returns after an 8-week layoff from a broken collarbone. How much rust will set in? No one really knows. Not me, not the Cowboys, not even Tony Romo. The task ahead is daunting, but Romo sees the glass as half full.
I just don't think our team has ever not given 100% effort, commitment, and it's exciting to see, because that's how you can, turn it around. You win 1 or 2, and guys are committed to their craft and playing as hard as they are. I mean, good things can happen. It can happen quickly.
Here's how quickly it can happen for Romo and the Cowboys. After this Sunday's game in Miami, they get another chance for a win just 4 days later as they host the Carolina Panthers on Thanksgiving Day. For this week's Inside Slant, I'm Babe Laufenberg at Valley Ranch.
Cowboys and Dolphins right here on Fox 16 Sunday at noon. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Now, weather to plan your day with Fox 16 Chief Meteorologist Jeff Baskin.
Last look at your 7-day forecast. Still mild tomorrow, up in the 60s, but the cold air comes in Saturday. A couple of showers around during the morning hours, and then we're talking about turning colder Saturday, kind of breezy. And look at those lows, down to around 30, many spots in the 20s for Sunday morning, the first real widespread freeze of the year for Central Arkansas coming up.
All right, Jeff, thanks.
Get your free gun locks tomorrow right here at Fox 16 Studio.
That's right, Marcy Manley, she's still live tweeting right now. Just use the hashtag accidental shootings, and you can talk to her about trying to save children's lives from gunshot wounds. So long, everybody.
Choosing your pharmacy is just as important as choosing your family doctor. Choose the pharmacy